When the power dies in the middle of a freezing winter night, most people make one critical mistake in the first 60 minutes, and it could cost them everything. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what that mistake is, and more importantly, how to avoid it. You're about to learn the complete step-by-step strategy to survive a winter blackout safely, from the moment the lights go out to the moment power returns. We'll cover the deadly heating mistakes that claim hundreds of lives every winter, how to protect your home from thousands of dollars in pipe damage, and the exact order of actions that could save your life. Stay until the end because I'll share the one thing most survival guides never mention that separates those who panic from those who thrive. Welcome to Prep Pantry, where we turn panic into preparedness. If you're serious about protecting your family when disaster strikes, hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss our life-saving content. Now, let's talk about what happens the moment everything goes dark. When the power cuts out in winter, your instinct might be to grab every blanket in the house and huddle on the couch, waiting for the lights to come back on. But here's the problem. That's the mistake I mentioned. You're fighting a losing battle against time, and every minute you wait, your home is bleeding heat, your pipes are inching toward disaster, and your chances of staying safe are dropping. The first hour after a blackout is absolutely critical. Your furnace is dead and whole house warmth is now impossible. Trying to heat your entire home is not just unrealistic, it's dangerous because it spreads your resources too thin. Instead, you need to shift your entire strategy. Forget about the whole house. Your new mission is to create a fortress, one small, sealed space where you can concentrate all your warmth and survive comfortably. So, how do you choose this space? Size matters more than anything else. You want the smallest room in your house with the fewest windows. Think about your bathroom, a small bedroom, or even a walk-in closet. Small volumes of air retain heat far more efficiently than large ones. Every extra square foot you try to heat is working against you. Once you've picked your room, it's time to seal it like your life depends on it, because it might. Start with the door. Grab towels and stuff them along the bottom gap. No gap is too small to ignore. Next, tackle the windows. If you have plastic sheeting, tape it over every window. Don't have plastic? Use garbage bags, blankets, anything that creates a barrier. Tape down the edges. Every crack, every gap, every space where air can move is an enemy. Cover them all. Here's what's incredible about this approach. Real-life tests have proven that sealing a small room and using even minimal heat sources can keep that space 10 to 15 degrees warmer than the rest of the house. That difference isn't just comfort. That's the difference between safe and hypothermic. That's the difference between protecting your family and putting them at risk. But creating your fortress is only the first step. Your body is about to become your primary heat source, and you need to treat it like the furnace it is. Your body, even when you're sitting still, generates about 100 watts of heat. That's real, usable warmth. But without the right clothing, that heat escapes into the freezing air around you, and you're left shivering and vulnerable. Let's talk about layering, because this is where most people get it wrong. Forget about wearing one thick sweater and hoping for the best. You need a system. 3 distinct layers, each with a specific job. Start with your base layer, the one touching your skin. This layer has one purpose: keep moisture away from your body. When you sweat, even a little, that moisture will chill you fast. Use synthetic fabrics or wool. Never, and I mean never, use cotton as a base layer. Cotton holds onto moisture like a sponge, and once it's damp, it will suck the heat right out of you. Your middle layer is all about insulation. This is where you trap air and warmth. Fleece works great. Wool sweaters work even better. The thicker, the better. This layer is your shield against the cold. Finally, your outer layer is your barrier against wind and cold air. A heavy jacket, a thick blanket wrapped around your shoulders, anything that blocks the cold from reaching your insulating layer. Think of it as your armor. Now let's talk about the parts of your body that people forget, and these are the parts that will cost you the most heat if you ignore them. Your head is responsible for up to 30% of your total heat loss. 30%. That's massive. Wear a beanie, pull up a hoodie, or even wrap a towel around your head if that's all you have. do not leave your head exposed. Your hands and feet are next. Cold extremities aren't just uncomfortable, they're a sign your body is pulling blood away from your limbs to protect your core. Double up on wool socks, wear gloves, and if you don't have gloves, wrap your hands in towels or even curtains. Yes, it looks ridiculous. No, you shouldn't care. And here's the detail almost no one thinks about: what you're sitting on. Cold floors, tile, concrete, even hardwood, they all suck heat directly out of your body through contact. Sit on blankets, cardboard, yoga mats, couch cushions, anything that creates a barrier between you and that freezing surface. This one simple change can make a huge difference in how warm you feel.
While you're layering up, you need to take immediate action on another front: your plumbing. Frozen pipes are not just an inconvenience. They burst, flood your home, and turn a survivable blackout into a financial disaster. The first 30 minutes after the power dies are critical for your pipes, especially those in basements, crawl spaces, or along exterior walls. Here's what you do. Go to every faucet in your home and set them to a slow drip. Not a stream, just a drip. Moving water resists freezing far better than still water. Pay special attention to faucets on exterior walls or in unheated areas. They're going to freeze first. Next, find your exposed pipes. These are the ones running through unheated spaces like garages or basements. Wrap them with anything you have: towels, old clothes, even newspapers stuffed inside plastic bags. It's not perfect insulation, but it's better than nothing, and it buys you time. Now, while you still have water pressure, fill everything you can. Fill your bathtub, fill sinks, fill pots and buckets. City water pressure can drop or stop entirely during prolonged outages, and once it's gone, you're done. You need water to drink, to cook, and to stay warm. Don't wait. Fill everything now. And here's a resource most people forget about: your hot water heater. That tank is holding dozens of gallons of drinkable water. If you need it, you can access it by opening the drain valve at the bottom. Just make sure you shut off the power to the heater first and let it cool down before you drain it. This is emergency water that could keep you hydrated for days. Now let's address the elephant in the room, the thing that kills more people during winter blackouts than the cold itself. I'm talking about carbon monoxide poisoning. CO is invisible, odorless, and it incapacitates you before you even realize there's a problem. Every single winter, hundreds of people die from carbon monoxide poisoning because they made desperate, dangerous choices trying to stay warm. Here's what you absolutely, under no circumstances, should ever do. Do not use your gas stove to heat your home. Do not bring your charcoal grill indoors. Do not run your generator inside your house, your garage, or even near an open window. These methods produce carbon monoxide, and in an enclosed space, CO builds up silently until it's too late. So what can you actually use safely? Let's start with the most underrated heat source of all: your own body and the bodies of everyone in your household. Gather everyone, including your pets, into your sealed room. Every person generates that 100 watts of heat we talked about. 2 people, 3 people, a whole family, that heat adds up fast. In a small sealed space, body heat alone can prevent temperatures from dropping to dangerous levels. If you have a propane or kerosene heater that's specifically rated for indoor use, you can use it, but you must follow the instructions exactly. That means proper ventilation, crack a window slightly even though it seems counterintuitive, and never ever run these heaters while you're asleep. The risk is too high. Here's a low-tech solution that works surprisingly well: hot water bottles. If you can heat water safely on a stove outside your living space, pour that hot water into durable bottles, wrap them in towels, and tuck them under your blankets. They'll radiate warmth for hours, and they're completely safe. Candles are another option, but let's be realistic. They're not going to heat a room. A few candles might add a degree or two to a very small space, but their real value is light and a tiny morale boost. Use them carefully, always in stable holders, and never leave them unattended. The bottom line is this: if you're using any device that burns fuel, you must have a carbon monoxide detector with battery backup. This is non-negotiable. CO detectors save lives, period. If you don't have one, that's something you need to fix right now before the next storm hits. Let's shift gears and talk about something just as critical: food and water. A winter blackout doesn't just rob you of heat, it threatens your entire food supply. Your refrigerator and freezer are slowly warming up, and if you don't act strategically, you're going to lose everything. Here's the priority system you need to follow. First, eat what's in your refrigerator. Milk, leftovers, anything perishable. Consume these items quickly. Your fridge will stay cold for maybe 4 hours if you keep the door closed, but after that, the clock is ticking. Next, move to your freezer. A full freezer can maintain its temperature for up to 48 hours if you don't open it. A half-full freezer, about 24 hours. If the temperature outside is below freezing, you have an incredible advantage. Move your frozen food outside in secure, animal-proof containers. Nature just became your freezer. After your fridge and freezer contents are handled, shift to shelf-stable foods. Canned goods, pasta, rice, nut butters, protein bars. This is your long-term fuel. These foods don't require refrigeration, and many can be eaten cold if necessary. But here's what you need to understand about cold weather and your body. You're burning significantly more calories just to try to stay warm. Your body is working overtime, and that means you need more fuel. Prioritize high-fat, high-calorie foods. Nuts, chocolate, cheese, peanut butter, these are your friends. They pack energy into small packages and they help your body generate heat. Cooking during a blackout requires serious caution.
If you have a camp stove or a grill, cook outside whenever possible. If you absolutely must, cook indoors. Never use your regular kitchen stove with gas. If you're using a portable camping stove inside, you need cross-ventilation, multiple windows open on opposite sides of your space to create airflow, and keep your cooking sessions short. Now let's talk about staying connected and staying safe in the dark. Without electricity, darkness isn't just inconvenient, it's dangerous. Falls, accidents, and fires from makeshift lighting kill people every year during blackouts. For light, your best options are flashlights, headlamps, and glow sticks. Use them sparingly to conserve batteries. Headlamps are especially useful because they free up your hands for other tasks. If you're using candles, placement is everything. Stable holders only, away from anything flammable, and never out of sight. Knocked over candles start house fires fast. Here's an old school technique that actually works, a DIY oil lamp. Take a jar, fill it partway with cooking oil, and use a cotton wick. This setup can provide hours of steady light, and it's remarkably safe if you set it up properly. Just make sure the jar is stable and the wick is secure. Communication is just as critical as light. When cell towers go down or your phone battery is dying, you can feel completely cut off. An emergency radio, the kind that runs on batteries or a hand crank, becomes your lifeline. It keeps you informed about weather updates, restoration estimates, and emergency instructions. For your phone, conservation is key. Switch it to airplane mode to save battery. Only turn it on when you absolutely need to make a call or check for updates. Every percentage point matters. If you need to charge your phone, you can use your car, but only if the vehicle is outdoors or in a well-ventilated area. Running your car in an enclosed space, even a garage with the door cracked, can produce fatal levels of carbon monoxide. And here's something people forget in a crisis: your neighbors. Check on them, especially elderly residents or families with young children. Knock on doors, share information, offer help if you can. Isolation during a blackout can be just as dangerous as the cold. Working together, sharing resources, and looking out for vulnerable households can make the difference between tragedy and survival for someone on your street. Now let's talk about something that doesn't get enough attention: the mental and psychological side of surviving a blackout. When you're cold, scared, and surrounded by darkness, your mind can be your greatest enemy or your greatest asset. Blackouts are physically demanding, but they're mentally exhausting too, especially for children and people who've never faced this kind of adversity. Fear and anxiety can spiral quickly when you're sitting in the dark with no idea when power will return. The key is to stay busy. Organize your supplies, check on your sealed room, do small tasks. Keeping your hands and mind occupied fights off the anxiety that creeps in during downtime. For families, this is a chance to bond. I know that sounds strange when you're freezing and uncomfortable, but hear me out. Play cards by candlelight, tell stories, read aloud from books. Turn the discomfort into an adventure, especially for kids. The attitude you project shapes how everyone experiences the situation. Survival is a team effort. Divide tasks, support each other, and communicate openly.
If someone is struggling, physically or mentally, address it immediately. Don't let pride or embarrassment stop you from asking for help or offering it. But you also need to know your limits. Staying in your home isn't always the right choice, and recognizing when to leave can save your life. If your indoor temperature drops below 50 degrees Fahrenheit and shows no sign of recovering, it's time to seriously consider evacuating. At that temperature, hypothermia becomes a real threat, especially for children and the elderly. Watch for hypothermia symptoms in yourself and others: confusion, slurred speech, extreme drowsiness, a weak pulse, shallow breathing. These are red flags. If you see them, you need to act immediately. Get to warmth, even if that means leaving your home. If anyone in your household relies on powered medical equipment, oxygen concentrators, CPAP machines, dialysis equipment, you may need to evacuate right away. Don't wait for conditions to deteriorate. Have a plan in place before the blackout happens. And here's the hard truth: sometimes survival means admitting defeat. If you have no safe way to generate heat and conditions are only getting worse, don't let pride keep you in a dangerous situation. Go to a warming center, a friend's house, a hotel, anywhere that has heat. Your priority is survival, not proving you can tough it out. For those who rely on refrigerated medications, blackouts create a unique challenge. Insulin is the most common example. Many people don't realize that most refrigerated medications can actually withstand room temperature for 1 to 2 days without losing effectiveness. But the key word is most. You need to verify this with your pharmacist or doctor before an emergency happens. If an outage is forecasted and you rely on temperature-sensitive medications, contact your doctor or pharmacy immediately. Coordinate an emergency supply or an evacuation plan. Don't wait until the power is already out. Time-sensitive prescriptions require time-sensitive planning.
Now, let's talk about what happens when the power finally comes back on. The grid's return is a relief, but it's not the end of the crisis. You need to transition carefully back to normalcy. First, inspect for damage. Check your pipes for leaks, especially in areas that got coldest. Look at your water heater. Make sure there's no damage or leaks there either. Burst pipes might not show themselves immediately, so stay vigilant over the next few days. Next, address food safety. If the food in your refrigerator warmed above 40 degrees Fahrenheit for more than 2 hours, you need to throw it out. Yes, even if it looks fine, even if it smells fine. Bacteria grows fast in the danger zone, and food poisoning is a miserable way to end a survival situation. When you turn your heat back on, don't crank the thermostat all the way up. Bring the temperature up gradually. Rapid temperature changes can stress your heating system and your home's structure. Check your smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors. Replace the batteries even if they seem fine. After what you've been through, you don't want to take any chances. And as soon as you can, restock all the supplies you used. Don't wait. Replenish your batteries, your food stores, your water, everything. The next blackout could happen next week, and you need to be ready. Finally, debrief with your household. Sit down together and talk about what worked and what didn't. What supplies were you missing? What part of the plan fell apart? What would you do differently next time? Update your emergency plan based on these lessons. Every blackout is a learning opportunity. And don't forget about the psychological aftermath, especially for children. A multi-day blackout can leave lingering stress and anxiety. Talk openly about the experience. Validate fears. Don't dismiss them. Point out what went well and what you learned. Show your family the new measures you're taking so they feel safer and more prepared for next time. Processing the experience is just as important as replenishing your supplies. Let's zoom out for a moment and look at the bigger picture. Why are winter blackouts becoming such a serious threat? The answer is uncomfortable but important. Our world is changing. Climate change is driving more extreme weather events. Aging infrastructure is struggling to keep up with demand. More frequent ice storms, heavier snow, and unpredictable polar vortexes are stressing power grids that were never designed for these conditions. Every household, no matter where you live, faces a credible risk of a winter blackout. This isn't fear-mongering. This is reality. And the good news is, you don't need to be a hardcore survivalist or spend thousands of dollars on gear to be ready. Everything I've shared with you today, the sealed room strategy, the layering system, safe heating methods, protecting your pipes, food and water management, knowing when to evacuate, these are all fundamentals, simple, actionable steps that anyone can take. But here's where proactive preparation makes all the difference. Everything we've talked about so far is reactive. It's what you do after the power goes out. To really gain the upper hand, you need to prepare before the crisis hits. Build your emergency kit now. Stock up on flashlights with extra batteries, an emergency radio, a first aid kit, at least a week's worth of any prescription medications, 3 days of water and non-perishable food, a manual can opener, waterproof matches or lighters, some cash because ATMs will be down, and copies of important documents stored in waterproof bags. Invest in an indoor safe propane heater and a backup carbon monoxide detector. Get sleeping bags rated for cold temperatures, chemical hand warmers, extra blankets, and warm clothing. Weather strip your doors and windows before winter arrives. Caulk gaps, add insulation where you can. Learn where your main water shutoff valve is and how to drain your pipes if necessary. Write down emergency contacts on paper. Family, neighbors, doctors, utility companies. When your phone dies, that paper could be your only reference. And as soon as you can, run a practice blackout. Turn off your breaker for a few hours on a cold evening and live through it. You'll identify gaps in your plan immediately. You'll realize what supplies you're missing, what your weak points are, and what actually works versus what just sounds good in theory. Knowledge is power. You don't need to live in fear of the next winter storm. With the fundamentals I've laid out for you, a calm mindset and a little preparation, you can not only survive a winter blackout, you can help your loved ones and neighbors get through it too. Remember, the difference between panic and resilience comes down to knowledge and preparation. In the critical first hour, focus on creating your sealed survival space, layering up properly, and protecting your pipes. Never compromise on safe heating. Carbon monoxide is a silent killer. Know when to stay and when to evacuate, because survival always comes before pride. If this video gave you clarity and confidence for the next winter storm, smash that like button and share it with someone who needs to see this. Subscribe to Prep Pantry and hit the notification bell so you're always prepared for whatever comes next. Drop a comment below telling us what you're adding to your emergency kit. We read every single one. And remember, the next blackout won't give you a warning. The time to prepare is right now.